Welcome back to the secret underground lair. So on this, what I'm going to be doing today is working to replace that crossbeam that we had that ran underneath the floor that I had to cut to get the floor in from my previous mistake. And I've been thinking overnight, what can I do to replace that? So fundamentally what I want to do is make sure that the legs don't split apart. And in fact, overnight they did separate a little bit just as the wood settled a bit. So it's clamped to bring it back in line. And what I decided overnight actually is I'm going to pin it. So I'm going to drill holes here, 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 and here, and on the other side as well. So there'll be 4 holes on each side. And I'm going to run a dowel through there. It'll go about 1/2 inch into the wood of the floor. And that will kind of keep everything aligned. So that's what I'm going to be doing next. That's my next project. And to do that, determine the depth. I just set a piece of wood here that represents the thickness of the floor, and I want to be 1/4 inch less than that. Put that there and marked on the drill where I want to stop the drill bit. So in fact, I probably won't even go quite that far into the wood, but that'll give me the mark that I want. And yeah, I'm just going to drill those 8 holes and then put the dowel in. Then while the glue is setting on that dowel, we're going to work on the drawers here and get the door fronts rather, and get the door fronts splined so that we can assemble those. That will be today's adventure. That will keep the front and back tied together nicely. I'm going to be pleased with that. So I'm just going to let that glue dry for those pins, sand it off a little bit so there's no evidence of my little work underneath there. And then in the meantime, let's go over and do the door fronts. Okay, I'm ready to cut the first spline recess here. Other things that I'm considering is that because we're going to put some rattan inset into this door face, I'm going to need to be cutting a 1/2 inch rabbet to accommodate that. So I don't want the spline to be too deep such that it would infringe upon that rabbeting space. It would be cut out with the router anyway, so it may not be a problem, but I'm just thinking let's avoid the complication if I can. So I'm going to bring this up 1 3/4 inches, which would give us about 1/4 inch distance between the end of the rabbet and the end of the edge of the spline and the edge of the rabbet. So I have about 1/4 of an inch there. So just kind of all little mental gymnastics that I'm going through to make sure this is going to work okay. Now as I cut this on the spline, or on the jig here, what you'll notice is that the saw blade is going to come into this piece almost full on. So it's going to be, I'm going to go very slow through that first part, and then it's just going to bust out the back here really quickly. So just going to go really slow with this first one, see how it goes, and then I'll set up the other. How many do we have? 4 doors, 4 corners, 16 more cuts to make. I'll also be labeling every piece. For example, this is going to be A and A. Next one will be B, B, C, C, D, and so on, up to M, N, O, P. 16 letters. So away we go. First cut will be at full speed, and then I'll put you on time lapse while I do the rest. Seemed to work out very well. Get a really good spline in that joint. There are all the 4 pieces, 4 doors, pieces for the 4 doors cut, and I decided to just label them, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then A, B, C, D in the 4 corners. A little bit easier than running up every letter of the alphabet. So now what I need to do is cut some splines for those doors to go in here. Again, go back to the table saw, use the little spline trick that I showed you the other day, and we'll get those ready to assemble. So I have a piece of rough maple here. I'm just gonna, it's 24 inches long, so I'm gonna cut 4. I figure 4 strips would probably be enough. 1 strip would do each door, but I'm gonna do, I'll cut 5 strips anyway. Just trying to think if I want to do more than that. I'll cut 5 strips, maybe 6, just to be safe. Can always cut more. Last act of the day. I've got a couple spline pieces cut now, and I'm just going to do a test glue up. Got a square so that I can keep these guys perfectly square as they go together. I can line up the corner, and then once the splines are in and the glue's in, I'm just going to put a little clamp on this edge here just to kind of keep it all tight and right. So what could possibly go wrong? just going to let that set. I'll come back and check that in a little while and maybe do the other ones, and get some other joints glued up. But that's all that I'm going to do today. It is the weekend. There are a few errands to run. To show you where we are on the cabinet. So the pins have gone through, have been installed. They haven't come through the floor, which is good. Didn't want them to come through. And we got the lower facing on the other day, and I put this upper facing on a little earlier and just sanded that off. So our door openings are now ready for the doors. So it's a good time to make the doors. And yeah, that's going to be it for today. Thank you very much for watching. Again, most appreciated when there's so much other incredible content out there. So please like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next video.